Okay, here is my long overdue unboxing and building of my very first computer I've ever built. I've built 3 by now, but I was planning on showing this video a long time ago, and I recorded everything a long time ago, but I never found time to do it, and then I lost the footage for a long time, and now I found it and have time during the summer, so I'm hoping to show you all the unboxings and all the recordings and the building of this PC. However, I want to let you know that it's not the highest quality. I recorded it with no professional equipment at all. I'm like a beginner unboxer YouTuber. It's like when you first start doing YouTube video unboxings and you're just really crappy holding a webcam, just looking at least it's 1080p, you know. But hopefully you guys still enjoy it anyway. My original audio was really cringy in this, and I can show you a clip of a little piece of it at the start just so you can hear how cringy it is. So I'm just going to narrate over that and try my best to explain everything. So hopefully you guys enjoy.
Okay guys, are you ready for the ultimate one-handed unboxing? I got the plastic off. Hopefully this focuses, yeah. So I'm gonna try to unbox it with one hand. It's gonna be a bit difficult. Okay. I have to get it through here. I don't know exactly how to open this thing.
The cringe! I know some of you guys probably want me to continue showing my original footage, but I'm sorry, but my professional self and my mature self cannot stand to hear that any longer. Though if you really want me to, I'll upload it in a separate video, just the raw footage of all of this. It's awful, but just a general public license and everything. So I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to try my best to do this all in one set of voiceover. I'm not an experienced or really skilled PC builder or builder in general, and I don't have too much technical knowledge of terms and everything, so don't expect this to be the most informative, interesting unboxing video ever. However, I will try my best to show off all the things here, and this is the charger. Of course, you plug it into the wall, you plug it into the router. So it's not just a PC that I have here. I set up everything new at my house, basically. The first PC I've ever built, we also got a new router, and everything is getting upgraded. The internet speed, my PC speed, our house in general at this time. This was recorded many years ago. In fact, I actually should check whenever this was originally recorded. I believe, 2014. August 1st, 2014 is whenever I unboxed all of these things. Yeah, that's a long time ago. And here I am. I'm going to take the plastic wrap off of this now. I'm doing it all with one hand for some reason. Don't ask me why. I was about 3 years younger than I am now back then. So that's 3 years less mature. I wasn't even 18 yet. I wasn't even halfway through high school yet. So yeah, that's where I was in life. I think I was a sophomore maybe. My password of Wi-Fi is showing on there. I'm going to have to cover that. Yep. Removing that plastic, probably a very satisfying sound, but unfortunately I had to mute the audio to remove my original voiceover. I may play it just for that sound though. It feels pretty nice on the back. I still use the same router, by the way. It's worked really well for many years now. But you rub the back, it's a little bit rough, but looks very nice and modern. It has all the usual internet ports and then Ethernet ports to bring the internet out. It has a DC port, a power on and off button, a reset light indicator, and a USB 3.0 USB-A port for anything you want to plug into your router, maybe extenders, things like that. It also has 2 switches on the side. I believe one's to turn on and off the Wi-Fi, and I can't remember what the other one was exactly. I don't know why I'm zooming in directly on my password here, but you know what? Why not, right? Why not give the world away all my information? It has indicator lights on the bottom to tell whether or not it's on or if the Wi-Fi is working correctly and other such indicators. I'm not sure what all of them mean exactly, but if they're working, then they should be lit up correctly. And I believe the Netgear logo in the middle lights up too. And also once it's set up, there's a little blue light around the edges so you can tell that it's working correctly. It actually looks very pretty. I have it set up upstairs. Yeah, there's a blue light. I have it set up upstairs right now, and it works really well. Really fast Wi-Fi. I'm really happy with it so far. And honestly, I don't know what else there is to show about this router right here. Depends whatever I decide to show, I guess. Yeah, just the red ribbon on the side. What?
Okay, yeah, there's a thin plastic film over the top of the router. So here we go. Taking it off. That was
so
beautiful.
good. So I apparently forgot to show off the box that contains the router, and for some reason I feel like I have to show all of that, and this is going to be a really long video, by the way. I just want to show everything I can so I can come back to it in the future, if you know what I mean. This is more for my memories more than showing you how to unbox things or what's inside things or how to build a computer or anything like that. This is so I can go back and look at myself building my first computer a long time ago. So there's AC 1600 Wi-Fi, 300 plus 1300 megabit per second speeds, really fast Wi-Fi actually. Best wireless coverage for large homes, ideal for homes with 10 or more Wi-Fi devices, because heaven knows we have 10 or more. And it comes with the Netgear Genie app, which I use sometimes, but not really, honestly. It has Beamforming Plus, which is one thing I was looking for in a router when I got it. I believe that allows it to more accurately detect where your devices are, so it can send Wi-Fi in that direction, rather than just spread it out randomly, which would make the connection worse. So this makes the connection overall better. And it has some of the ideas on the bottom in the gold section for what you could use the router for, like gaming, email, all sorts of stuff. All the usual things that come with routers. So here are the system requirements and everything that comes with the router is supposed to come with the router. As you can see, it doesn't say Windows 10 because this was before Windows 10 was released, but it has been updated to work with Windows 10. It has all the usual things for a decent router. It's nowhere near the super high tier routers, but it has really good internet for our usage. And overall, it's a really good router for what we need, and it's worked really well so far. On the other side, it just tells some more details about it, such as its physical specifications, along with some diagrams and descriptions of how it works and what's on it and everything. It also shows the package contents, which are the router, the Ethernet cable, an install guide, and a power adapter. Localized to the US, of course, since I'm in the US. There's just a logo on the top, which I don't know why I'm showing it for so long. And come on, me from the past. You don't need to see that stuff. This is my secret shipping labels. And then on the back, there's some more info about the router, which you can read on your own because heaven knows I'm not going to read all of these. Yeah, but there's a lot of details on here that no average consumer is expected to read. They just do it to toot their own horn, so that's something that the providers of internet like to do. And it comes with an app that I never downloaded to this day. That's great. I'm learning new things. Maybe I should download that app. But I think that's about all for the router. Jeez, it already took like 8 minutes almost to do the router. Okay, let's move on to the computer then. Okay, so here are the actual PC components. I have the case, I have the power supply, I have the monitor and everything else along with my stuffed animals to the left. And wow, my basement was empty back when I did this. Oh my gosh, it looks way different. There's nothing over on that side. Oh, this feels so weird. There's so much stuff here now. Anyway, back to the point. I'm sorry for the really high exposure and brightness. I was recording this with an iPad, as I said, and there's also a bright light right above this as I showed. And I can't really adjust that, and also this was taken 3 years in the past, so I really can't adjust it now. Though I still have most of these boxes, funnily enough. I don't know where my monitor box went, though. But the component boxes I tend to keep. So yeah, I didn't even have that carpet there now. Like, that carpet is rolled up on the side of the room now. But that used to be across this entire room. That's interesting. But that's the components, the Phantom 410, and I'll actually go over all my PC parts that I got for this first PC originally. So here's a quick list of all the PC parts I put in my computer as I show me unboxing my case in a really horrible one-handed way because I'm trying to hold an iPad with my other hand because I'm a genius at recording. Anyway, for my first PC build, keep in mind, this is my first build I've ever made. I've made 3 now. I think my second 2 got progressively better and better in terms of matching the components correctly and lack of issues with the computer, along with ease of setup and all sorts of things, and cable management and the like. But my first computer, I was just doing research into computer parts. I'm really into technology, so I was just learning about it, learning about building my own computer, and if I made any mistakes in this, I apologize. It was 3 years ago, and my PC is working just fine, I'll have you know. Anyway, back then, I built it with a really good CPU, Because the way I figured it was I was going to be doing YouTube for a long time, which I was fortunately accurate on, so I needed a good CPU to render videos. So I got the Intel Core i7-4790K 4 GHz quad-core processor, which was probably one of the best processors out back then. It was one of Intel's top-tier processors, and it can be overclocked, though I never overclocked it, unfortunately. I'm worried about overclocking, though. I don't think my computer has good enough cooling to manage that, but someday I'll overclock. But that was my processor, and you can read about my case right now at the same time if you want. But my motherboard was the Gigabyte GA-Z87X UD3H ATX LGA 1150 motherboard. If you're not a computer nerd or anything like that, then this may seem very confusing to you, and I'm sorry. I will try my best to explain things as much as I can, but the motherboard is what you connect everything to. It's how your computer connects all your components. Your RAM, your CPU, your graphics card, everything connects to your motherboard. So that's very important. Even though it's generally not the most expensive part, it's one of the most important parts. And it's necessary for every PC. So that motherboard turns out to work pretty well, but it did have a big issue with the PC, which I'll probably talk about at the end of this unboxing. But the case is really nice. I like the case, the Phantom 410. So I'll mention case actually right now. It's the NZXT Phantom 410 black ATX mid-tower case. And once I get the box open, you'll see why I like it so much. It's kind of gamery and kind of nerdy. However, I think it's pretty slick, and I like how it looks. I could have gone more of I like a matte finish a bit more than its kind of plasticky feel. But other than that, like the fingerprints, other than that, it's really nice. But that's my case, and it has lots of room inside, so there's lots of empty space that I don't use right now because I don't fill my computer that much. For my memory, I got the Corsair Vengeance 8 GB, which is in 2 sticks, so it's 2 sticks of 4 GB, DDR3 1600 memory. It's nice RAM. I should have gotten 16 back when I first built my computer. I've upgraded it now, but I should have gotten 16 because that's also very important when rendering videos and the like. And for storage, I got 2 storage drives, with one being an SSD and one being an HDD, which I'll talk about at the next video clip. I just wanted to mention, I actually built the computer on August 16th, 2014, not August 1st. The router came in before the PC parts. I just want to be specific so I know when I first started building PCs, for future reference, you know? In terms of storage drives, I got the Samsung 840 EVO 250GB 2.5-inch SSD. I figured that the SSD was one of the best things I could do for a computer because it was a fairly new technology back when I built this, I believe. And SSDs were proven to be much, much faster than HDDs in terms of transfer speeds and stuff like that. And I figured I could use it as a boot drive, so my computer will turn on and turn off much faster. And it does do it much faster than with a hard drive. And I know because I compare it to my parents' old PC, which took ages and ages to turn on. Like, I don't even have to time it, it just takes forever. This one turns on within a matter of seconds. And it's even faster now because I reset a lot of things, and it's even cleaner than when I first got it. So, sounds weird, but it's kind of how it is. Anyway, the solid state drive works really well. And I got a Western Digital Cavalier Black 1TB 3.5-inch 7200 RPM hard drive. And that's my storage drive that I used for videos and photos and stuff. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, so eventually I got an external hard drive with 4 TB on it. But even that fills up somewhat quickly, so I'm really glad that I have tons of space. And look at this case, so sleek. It has the usual headphone and microphone jack, 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and a fan speed slider. Now that's to adjust the fan speed that comes with the case, not with the... Or I think it might have... No, I don't think it adjusts the processor fan speed or heatsink or anything like that, or the video card. It's just the internal fans that came with the case. Anyway, the next really important part I got was the MSI Radeon R9 270X 2GB Twin Frozer video card for gaming. Now, that's the video card I used for a long time. I've also upgraded from that now to a 6GB card. However, that was very, very recently, as in within 1 week ago recently that I upgraded that. I used that card for a long time, and it served me well for a long time. It was really nice. And it had very little issues setting it up, much less than my new graphics card, even though it's working fine now. So that was really good too. This video is going to ramble on and on, so if you don't care so much for that type of thing, then I'd recommend switching off right now. Heck, I don't even care if you dislike the video, it's mainly here for my future memories. But if anyone wants to see what it's kind of like for a really excited young boy to build his first computer, this is what it is, and that's the inside of my case. As you can see, there's lots of space in there. It has room for a large graphics card and a large motherboard, maybe a full ATX, and I'm not sure how many inches it has space in there, but it can fit several different drives in there, hard drives, SSDs, or disk drives, or the like, even like floppy drives if you really want to do that type of thing. But there's lots of space in there. You can see it has, I believe, 3 internal fans. Don't quote me on that. You can check this case on your own on PC Part Picker, I believe. It's still for sale because it's still a pretty popular case. They might have new editions of it though. But overall, I really like it. I probably shouldn't ramble on about each part right now because I'm going to go through each one by one soon anyway. It's a little bit too late for that, and I don't want to redo all this footage though. So here's the monitor. The RL2455HM by BenQ is a 24-inch 1920 by 1080 60Hz monitor made for gaming, and I really like it. So I'm going to go through each part one by one now and kind of detail them as much as I can. But this was a very popular monitor back when I first got it, and I don't know if it's still sold. There wasn't a price on PC Part Picker, but it's a really beautiful monitor. I like it so much and I still use it right now. It's LED, and I believe I got it because it has a 1 millisecond response time. So it's made for gaming, and it's used in professional gaming, or at least it was used in professional gaming. It had the Pro Gamer label on there. You can see what you're not supposed to do with it, such as dropping wine glasses on it or putting it on an umbrella, because that's very important information. And overall, it's worked really well. It runs everything in 60 FPS if you want it to. It runs everything in 1080p, which is all I need for YouTube. And it runs games super quickly with very low response times. Which is, if you don't know, the time it takes from doing something on a keyboard or controller and for it to react on the monitor. So overall, a really nice monitor of great picture quality. So after looking through some of my footage, it turns out this is more of an unboxing of all my computer parts rather than a showcase of my build itself or me building the PC, which I understand because I probably didn't have a way to actually film me building my PC correctly. I didn't have any camera mounts, camera stands of any kind other than my iPad, which didn't have a case on it at the time. So I was just holding it by hand, so I don't think I can build a computer when I'm holding my iPad by hand, so that makes sense. But here's the monitor in its plastic bag and all of its goodness. And here is the back of the monitor, which came with some foam on it that explains things, how it works. Designed for RTS games. Yep, but I actually never really paid attention to that, so screw me, am I right? Because I don't play RTS games. Anyway, it's a nice monitor though for things other than just RTS, and you can see right here it has a really nice shine, and my brightness on my iPad recorder is too high. I apologize so much. And it's adjustable. You can adjust its you can adjust up and down, I believe. I don't think you can slide it up and down. You can just bend it up and down. You can't even move it side to side either. It's just up and down adjustments that you can do on this thing. But it has a really nice base. It feels very stable, and it kind of has a red and black theme that I like. It matches, well, it doesn't match too much. It matches my keyboard, I believe, and my mouse matches my computer because my computer is black and blue, not black and red. But it's not a big deal, honestly. I don't care too much for the color choices. So there's my mouse and keyboard. It's the Microsoft Sidewinder X4 is the keyboard, and here is the Logitech G500S gaming mouse, which is wired, and I really like this mouse, honestly. I still use it to this day. I think Andrew uses the exact same mouse I do, and it has a really fast speed. And Andrew is sending me Discord messages, so that's always good. But you can see some of the statistics here, up to 20 million clicks guaranteed. I don't know how many clicks I've gotten, but probably more than 20 million, and it's probably going to break at any time. Anyway, the mouse is adjustable, so you can make it so that it goes from slot to slot and clicks in, or you can make it go continuously on a full spin. So that's nice, depending on what type of web page or game you're playing. There's of course several programmable keys on the side and on the top. You can program them in any way you want, mostly on the left side. And there's the left click and right click that feel very tactile. You can push down the mouse button as usual if you want to scroll through a web page, and that also feels pretty tactile. There's the usual plus and minus button to go back and forward on a web page. And overall the mouse is really nice. You can even adjust the weight on the bottom of it, which I just made it as heavy as possible. So there's the instruction setup guide and the important information for safety. Who reads that, am I right? And the weights that you can see here, which I'm probably going to put in on this video, though I'm not 100% sure about that. They are 4.5 kilogram and 1.7 grams depending on what type of weight and heaviness you want to put in there. And it slides out and you just put them into a little panel, like a tray, and slide the tray back in and weigh down the mouse. In my opinion, the heavier the mouse, the better it is for games, so that's just what I did. So here's the Sidewinder X4 Pro Gaming Keyboard, and I still use it to this day as anti-ghosting orange backlighting, which you can't adjust the color unfortunately, but there is some brightness settings and you can turn it off if you want, so that's nice. I just leave it on permanently though, because I like backlighting. And it's very tactile, very nice keyboard. I believe it has Cherry MX, I'll have to double check that. But overall, it's a very nice computer, or very nice keyboard. It has a numpad, it has a wrist rest. It's a hard plastic wrist rest, but it still feels nice. It's nothing like grating on your wrist. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as popular as it is, because apparently it's a very popular keyboard. It's the full size, it has even macro keys with 3 sets of macros you can set, so I believe that's 18 macros that you can set overall, which I don't use too much honestly because I'm not that type of gamer or whatever, but you can see inside here. There's all the macros on the left side, there's a numpad on the right side, has the arrow keys, all the usual computer setting keys. You can see the indicators for the numlock, for the other types of settings that you can set at the top right. And overall, I just really like this keyboard. It has a kickstand at the back as usual, and it's a wired keyboard, which I don't use wireless keyboards. That sounds awful, especially for games. And like, has the Windows key at the bottom left. Overall, it's a very fast, very good keyboard, and I'm happy with it. It even has a record button at the top left, which that's what you use to record macro keys, from what I recall. You press on that, you press the macros, you press whatever macro you want to set it to, and it'll set whatever combination you push to that macro. So that's interesting. This is the power supply, the CX600M 600 watt 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular ATX power supply. That's a great catchy name, that's also a horrible mouthful, but it's a really nice power supply that's worked well so far. It's semi-modular, so you can unplug and plug in the cables, though it only works on the cables it comes with. I believe that's what semi-modular means. I'll have to double check that. But it plugs into all the things that I need it to work with. And overall, it just works really well. It's 600 watts, so it's enough to upgrade my computer, or at least it has been enough to upgrade my computer. It has the usual 16-pin connectors, along with the 6-pin connectors for video cards and the like. Connects to the motherboard through all of its necessary power connectors, and you can see the details here. If you haven't built computers before, then you won't understand what most of this means, and if you have built computers before, then you probably think I'm a moron for how I'm explaining it, so I really can't win, but hopefully you guys enjoy just looking at the parts, I guess. That's the highlight of this whole thing, just looking at them, because clearly my voiceovers aren't going to provide that much useful information here. And here you can see the cables, including the usual like 32-pin connector. It's a nice connector needed to connect to the motherboard and provide power to all the components. There's some details on the back about safety. Who needs safety, am I right? Corsair. It says high pot OK, so you can get high on pot while using it, so that's good. And I don't know what else there is to be said about the power supply. I just keep showing it off though. It has the very delicious protector gel on the side and some extra proprietary cables, so that's good. Here's a lot of the smaller parts all right next to each other. Honestly, my voice is getting a bit sore from talking for 30 minutes straight basically, but this is the RAM, the Vengeance 8GB 2x4GB RAM, and that's random access memory needed to run many tasks at the same time, such as many tabs or video rendering and the like while playing games. So RAM is useful for many different things, and computers have constantly been increasing the amount of RAM they have because it's very easy to upgrade. So it's just 8GB, DDR3. There's DDR4 now, but not many people have DDR4 and it's not mainstream yet. So most people still use DDR3, so that's what I'm using here. And back then, really no one used DDR4 when I built this. There is my SSD, I believe, the Samsung 840 EVO 250GB, for booting up Windows and the like, because it's way faster than a hard drive due to it not having physical moving parts like a hard drive does. It's all digital, and it has much faster transfer speeds because of that, though it's also more expensive because people are expected to pay more for higher transfer speeds, even though it's not more difficult to make. Yay, marketing, woo! There's my disk drive, which is the Light-On iHas124-04 DVD/CD writer. My parents insisted that I got one because we still like to use CDs, and we still have lots of CD games, though I don't play them anymore, but back then I played them a little bit at least, and installed some programs using CD. Most things are digital nowadays though, so many computers don't even use them anymore. Here's the hard drive. It's a 1TB Caviar Black from Western Digital, 3.5-inch, 7,200 RPM hard drive. It's really good for what it's used for. For me, I mostly use it just for storing random files and documents and the like. I open up the SSD and that's what it comes in. It's actually a really nice SSD. I like it a lot. It cost a decent amount from what I recall, like over 100. It might be over 150, I can't remember exactly. All I know is a hard drive costs less and has way more space because it's a hard drive. But SSDs are, in general, worth it. Like, it's worth the price if you're booting a new computer. If you want the cheapest computer ever, then don't get an SSD. But if you're willing to spend a little bit for a much faster performance, SSDs are infinitely worth it. And I'm showing some of the disks for these drives here. This is the opened box of RAM. You can see how it looks like here. You just stick it into the motherboard in the RAM slots according to how the manual states. On your motherboard manual, I mean. And normally there's 4 RAM slots on most motherboards, and you usually put it in the 2 same colored ones. And whichever color they tell you to put in first, it tells you in the guide for the motherboard. And it's really simple. You just push it in until it clicks. And it adds more RAM to the computer that you can use for all sorts of things. So I only got 8, unfortunately. And there's the Windows disk, which I got Windows 8, I believe, when I first built my computer. I have a Windows 10 disk now because I built another computer after that. But this is the Windows 8, and it worked well for a time. I got the free upgrade to Windows 10 when it came out, so that's what I'm currently using. Here's my Intel Core i7-4790K processor. This was the best part of my first computer, and it basically meant that I didn't have to upgrade my processor for a long time. And I'm hoping that I won't have to upgrade my processor at least until I have my own job and money, because I don't want to spend more of my parents' money on a new processor. And I already have a really good video card to match the processor too, so that's really nice. I'm really glad I got the processor I did, because I'll be able to run VR now if I ever get an HTC Vive, which is also the same cost as a computer, so that's not going to happen for a while, unfortunately. But overall, I like it. It's a really nice processor. I had some issues before because I accidentally got a really crappy processor by accident, and we couldn't refund it, so I actually have an extra processor. It's an Intel Celeron. It didn't cost much, so don't worry about that, but I have an extra Celeron, so if anyone ever needs to fix their computer using it, then we can use it. Oh, actually, I think now that I'm at the processor, it's a good time to explain the issue I had with my first computer. Okay, so my first computer had something, oh, that's a heatsink that used to cool the processor, but my first computer had issues involving it not turning on at all, and that was a big issue. I didn't think there were any compatibility errors. There was one small compatibility thing on PC Part Picker when I built it, but I just thought that it was just a tiny thing that I could easily do once I get the computer turned on and fixed. But it turns out that the one compatibility error was that my BIOS on the motherboard was not updated to work with this new processor, because it was a very new processor at the time. Because of that, the computer wouldn't turn on at all, and I couldn't figure out what it was because I was very new to the technology thing. So I had no idea what the issue was. I tried tons of things as much as I could, switching all sorts of cables, trying to get things to work. Nothing would work. It wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't boot into BIOS or anything. Eventually, I brought it to a shop and I figured out what the issue was, and I couldn't fix it myself because you need another processor to put into the computer in order to get the computer working with the motherboard, and then you update the BIOS once you have another processor in, and once you're done with that, you switch out to your new processor, and then it'll work. So my BIOS needed to be updated. So I brought it to the shop, and I had to bring that's why I had the Celeron, I believe, because I bought my own old processor, like crappy processor, the Celeron, to get the computer working. So I brought the Celeron with me, and the computer, went to a computer shop, and they updated the BIOS for me, gave it back, and it worked finally, and it took weeks to get this figured out. It was really stressful this time because my brother was having a lot of stressful things at school. I had a tough time at school at the time, and also these computer issues just compounded it. Right now we're pretty happy though, so times change, you know, gotta keep that in mind. Here's the graphics card. It's very gamer looking. It matches my monitor, honestly, the red and black color scheme. It's a really nice graphics card. It's very pretty. However, it is large. Like my new graphics card I have right now is smaller than this one and has a smaller fan and smaller size and width and everything, but it has a faster processing power and more VRAM. So graphics cards have gotten smaller and more powerful over time, but at the time this is a really good video card. And this is a motherboard box which I unboxed last for some reason. Probably because after I unboxed the motherboard, I have to put together the computer, and I was waiting to do that. And I didn't really know how to put together a computer back then. I think I didn't film me putting together the computer because this is the first one I ever built. So I was looking up tons of tutorials and stuff on my iPad as I was building it. So I can't really record with my iPad while I'm looking up tutorial videos and instructions about how to build a computer. But overall, it's an ultra durable motherboard. So I got that because I didn't want to break it or short circuit it or anything. I still knew to ground myself. Even when I built my first computer, I remembered to ground myself before I touch any components. Which if you're new to building, always do that. Otherwise you may fry your components. Basically, it's to remove any static electricity from you. And what you do to ground yourself before touching any of your PC components is to put your feet on the ground and put your hands either on the case of your computer or on your power supply or some other metal object, and that'll take away the static electricity from your hands so you can interact with the parts without frying the circuits. So here are the statistics for this board. I don't know what everything means here. You can see all the ports. Has all the usual ports, heat sinks, designs, and all sorts of the usual things. Has an LED indicator, it has the HDMI, DVIs, all that good stuff, some USBs. I think it has 4 USBs on the back, 3.0s, along with an Ethernet drive and Ethernet cable and the mic and headphone jack and all the usual audio things. So there it is. It has 6 PCI ports, and it has the processor tray in the middle, which you have to remove the cover to put it in. It has all the slots for fans, it has the I/O, it has the BIOS when you turn on the computer. There's the I/O shield, which I'm pretty sure I actually never installed, which is stupid of me because it's very necessary. Actually, I think I did install it. This I/O shield doesn't look as difficult to install as the one for my new video card, which has all sorts of prongs and stuff that get in the way. But I think this is about the end of the unboxing of all the PC parts. If you made it through this, I seriously congratulate you because I am sore as heck in my throat from talking for 30 minutes straight. And my brain hurts from trying to think of what to say. But yeah, wasn't very informative, wasn't very necessary, but this is a good reminder for me in the future about what it was like to build my first computer. And I'm going to put in all the raw footage in a separate video and upload that as a private thing. Probably. Just so I can go back and look back on it in the future. That'll be nice. So I can see how it was, how cringy I was. The cringe and all about me building the first computer. So, yeah. That's it. Goodbye.